The night is cold, its breath biting at the soul of the land. The wind, sharp and relentless, pushes through the cracks of a forgotten village. Beneath the thick shroud of winter, the earth holds its breath, frozen, unwilling to reveal any warmth. The only light is the faint, flickering glow of a small fire, barely fighting against the encroaching darkness. The flames cast long, restless shadows that dance across the walls of a dilapidated hut, their movements like specters of a life once full of warmth. Inside, a young woman sits, her body hunched against the cold, clutching a small bowl of porridge. It is thick, tasteless, barely enough to sustain her, but it is all she has. Her hands, calloused from years of hard labor, tremble as she lifts the spoon to her lips, her eyes never straying far from the dying flame before her. The air is heavy with the scent of burning wood, mingling with the sour odor of decay. Her cheeks are hollow, her skin pale, yet her gaze remains steady, focused on the warmth she dares not let slip away. This is the last flicker of life. She knows it in her bones. She does not remember the last time the village was full of laughter, full of life. She does not remember the smell of fresh bread or the sound of children's voices. What she remembers now is the silence, the haunting silence that has claimed every home, every hearth, every heart. The village was once a place of shelter, a place where people came together to live, to fight, to love. But now it is a shadow, a hushed echo of what it was, as the cold claws of winter sink deeper into the bones of those who remain. The fire crackles, a sudden snap breaking the stillness. The woman flinches, her eyes darting around the room as though she expects something or someone to appear. But it is only the fire, spitting sparks into the blackened air. She exhales slowly, and for a moment, the fog of the past few years seems to lift, replaced by something raw, something real. This is survival, she thinks. This is the struggle of being the last of a people, of a family. And yet, she can't help but wonder, when will the darkness claim her too? Outside, the wind howls. The trees bend under its weight, their skeletal branches scraping the sky. The once vibrant fields that stretched beyond the village now lay barren, empty, forgotten by the sun. There is nothing left here but the echoes of lives that have already been lost. The villagers, the survivors, the broken, are scattered now, gone like the very crops that once fed them. The cold has taken them in ways she does not wish to understand. She feels it in the way her heart beats, slow and reluctant, as if it knows the end is near. The sound of footsteps on the frost-crusted ground outside reaches her ears. The soft crunch, the shuffle of someone unsure, someone hesitant. She rises slowly, her body stiff with the cold, her breath visible in the thick air. The door creaks open with a groan, and there, standing in the doorway, is a figure cloaked in shadow. The flames cast a dim light on their face, and she sees it. The same hollow eyes she has come to know, the same emptiness that swells in the chests of the living. It is another refugee, another soul caught in this storm of survival, but she feels no relief at the sight of another. Instead, there is only a terrible understanding that she has not been abandoned. She is not the last, but there are only a few left. A few of them, scattered and weary, trying to endure. The stranger steps inside, pulling the hood of their cloak back, revealing a young man, pale, exhausted, but still standing. He has no words, only the desperate look of someone searching for safety, for a place to collapse. She nods toward the fire, wordlessly offering him what little warmth is left. But even as he takes a seat beside her, they both know that warmth is a fleeting thing here. A flicker of fire in the heart of a dead village is all they can hope for now. The world outside is too cruel, too vast to be escaped. For a moment, they sit in silence, the crackling of the fire the only sound in the room. The young man does not speak, and neither does she. What could they say? The village is dying, the land is barren, and the world outside has become a stranger. They are refugees of a different kind, refugees from a world that has already moved on, leaving behind only ghosts. The woman's gaze drifts to the far corner of the room, to the spot where her daughter used to play, where her husband once sat and carved wooden toys for their children. The small room is a hollow shell now, a reminder of the life that was once full of laughter, of love, of hope. But it has all been consumed by time, by the endless march of years that have taken them all. The fire flickers again, casting a soft golden glow that feels too fragile to exist in a world so cold. Outside, the wind grows louder, the howl of the storm now almost deafening. The air presses against the walls, seeping through every crack and crevice, a constant reminder that the world outside is more powerful than they are. The fire sputters, its glow dimming as the last of the wood burns away. The woman's heart sinks as she reaches for another log, but her hands are slow, worn, tired. It is the last one. There is nothing left to feed the flames. In that moment, a terrible thought creeps into her mind. The world she once knew, the world of warmth, of connection, of life, is slipping away. It is slipping away, and there is nothing she can do to stop it. She is a part of it now, a part of a forgotten world that is slowly being devoured by time, by death, by the relentless march of survival. The fire goes out, the room falls into darkness, and in the darkness, she wonders how long it will be before they too become shadows. How long before the last flicker of life is consumed by the cold? The answer is lost in the wind. It is lost in the silence of a dying village. But in the quiet, something stirs. A new beginning, a new question, a new story waiting to be written in the ashes of the old one. The wind cuts through the broken landscape like a blade, carrying with it the scent of damp earth and cold metal. A figure, cloaked in tattered remnants of armor, stumbles through the ruins of an ancient battlefield. The once vibrant banners of fallen kingdoms lie in tatters around him, their colors long faded into the gray haze that has swallowed the land. His breath comes in ragged gasps, the weight of his sword pulling heavy at his side, though it no longer feels like a weapon. It feels more like an anchor, a reminder of everything that has been lost. In the distance, the echoes of a battle long past still reverberate in his mind. The clash of steel, the cries of dying men, the smell of blood and sweat. But now, it is all silence. The bodies that once littered this field have long since decayed, their bones now just another layer of earth to be forgotten by time. He is the last of his comrades, the last of a dying breed, one of the final knights to walk this forsaken earth. And yet, there is no glory in survival. There is only the bitter taste of loss and the weight of a world that no longer remembers what it once was. The knight's eyes scan the horizon, where the ruins of what was once a thriving village are barely visible against the darkening sky. His thoughts drift back to the days before the war, before the plague, before the darkness had swallowed everything whole. He had once believed in honor, in the code of the knight, in the idea that his purpose was greater than the battlefield. But now, he is not sure what remains of that world. The banners may be tattered, but the cause still lives in his heart, even as it withers in the world around him. As the wind picks up, he hears the faint rustling of leaves, a whisper, almost lost in the chaos of his thoughts. He turns, his hand instinctively gripping the hilt of his sword. In the distance, a shadow moves through the trees, something not quite human, yet not quite animal either. It is a haunting, lingering presence, something that knows the land as well as he does. And it knows he is here. The wind howls again, the leaves swirling in the air like ghosts of the past. The knight tightens his grip, his breath steadying. For the first time in years, he feels a flicker of hope. Not for himself, perhaps, but for the memory of what this world once stood for. In the distance, the shadow moves again, and he knows the time has come to face what remains, to confront the darkness, and to see if there is anything left worth saving. In the silence, the battlefield that once roared with death now waits, as if holding its breath. The knight steps forward, his eyes fixed on the horizon, and the ghostly whispers of the past begin to fade away. But his journey is just beginning, and the questions that haunt him will lead him further into the darkness, deeper into the unknown. The path ahead is barely visible through the thick fog that creeps over the ground like a living thing, consuming everything it touches. The woman's feet sink into the soft earth with every step, the weight of her worn boots pulling her further into the mud. Her cloak, torn and frayed, offers little protection from the biting wind that cuts through the forest. She has long since stopped caring about the cold. Her only concern is the sound of her breath, each exhale heavy with the weight of the journey ahead. The trees around her stand like silent sentinels, their gnarled branches twisting into the sky as if pleading for something, anything, to break the oppressive silence. The leaves, once vibrant with life, now lie scattered on the ground, brown and brittle, crushed beneath the woman's steps. The scent of decay fills the air, mixing with the damp earth and the faint trace of smoke in the wind, the smoke of burning homes, of villages long abandoned. She is alone in this land, a land once full of hope and community, but now reduced to desolation. Her family is gone, claimed by the plague, and the remnants of her village now lie in ruin. The smoke in the wind reminds her of what has been lost, of what she can never return to. She clutches the small bundle in her arms, a child swaddled in the tattered remnants of blankets, the last piece of her old life. She thinks of her husband, of the way his voice once held a warmth that now seems like a distant memory, and of the home that no longer exists. The wind shifts, and for a moment she feels the chill of the night creeping into her bones. The light of the setting sun flickers through the trees, casting long, painterly shadows on the ground before her. There is something unsettling in the silence, the way the world around her feels frozen, as though time itself has decided to stop. The only sound is the distant call of a raven, its voice hoarse and mournful, a reminder that she is not the only one left behind. The woman stops for a moment, her heart heavy with the realization that she does not know where she is going. There is no destination for her anymore, no place that feels safe, no village to seek refuge in. All she has is the road ahead, a road that leads into the unknown. The weight of her survival presses against her chest, suffocating in its own way. As she resumes her journey, she notices the first sign of life, a small bird perched on a branch above her. It flutters its wings before taking flight, disappearing into the mist. She watches it go, and for a fleeting moment, she feels a pang of longing. Is this what survival has become? A series of fleeting moments, small sparks of hope, lost in the endless gray. With every step, the forest grows darker, the path more uncertain. Yet, she presses on. For what else can she do but walk? The road stretches ahead, leading her further into the unknown, into a future that feels as fragile as the leaves beneath her feet. And yet, she walks. Because she has no choice. Because the journey, like the hope for survival, must continue, even when the end is not clear. The earth is barren beneath his feet, the soil cracked and dry as though it too has given up hope. A lone figure stands in the center of what was once a thriving field, now reduced to nothing more than a wasteland. The wind stirs the dry, brittle grass, but there is no life here, no sign of the abundance that once grew in these fields. The air is heavy, thick with the smell of rot, of decay. The crops are gone, stripped from the land by famine, by disease, by time itself. The man's face is a mask of weariness, his eyes hollow with the weight of the years. His hands are rough from toil, yet they tremble as they grip the rusted spade in his hands. He has dug countless graves, buried family, friends, neighbors, those who were once here with him, tilling the earth side by side, living off the land. But now, all that is left is the silence, the oppressive silence that fills this desolate place. The village beyond him is nothing but a shadow now, its houses empty, its streets silent, abandoned to the ravages of nature and fate. As the man kneels in the dirt, his mind drifts back to the days when the land was alive with promise. He remembers the smell of fresh bread baking in the ovens, the laughter of children running through the fields, the warmth of a family gathered around a table, sharing what little they had. But those days are gone, swallowed by the plague, by the famine, by the endless march of time that has claimed them all. He is the last to remain in this hollowed refuge, clinging to a life that no longer feels real. The wind picks up again, colder now, biting at his skin. He shivers, not from the chill of the air, but from the hollow emptiness of the world around him. His breath rises in visible clouds, merging with the fog that clings to the ground, as if the earth itself is exhaling a final, sorrowful sigh. The man looks around once more, his gaze lingering on the horizon, where the sky hangs low and gray, a reflection of the emptiness that fills him. In the distance, he hears the faint sound of hooves, the rumble of wheels on gravel, the approach of someone, anyone. It is a small hope, but it is a hope nonetheless. Perhaps they will bring news of a new beginning, of a chance to rebuild. Or perhaps, like the others before him, they will simply vanish, lost to the land, claimed by the same forces that took everything else. But for now, he waits, his body weary, his heart heavy, and the land around him remains still, silent, and waiting for a harvest that will never come. The forest is cloaked in a thick, suffocating fog that curls around the trunks of ancient trees like a living thing. Each step the traveler takes is slow and deliberate, his boots sinking softly into the damp earth beneath him. The trees loom like silent sentinels, their twisted branches weaving a tangled canopy above, blocking the last pale rays of daylight. The air is damp with the scent of moss and decaying leaves, a smell that is both heavy and haunting, like the breath of the forest itself. The man, cloaked in the tattered remnants of his former life, moves with the grace of someone who has learned to disappear, learned to move through a world that has forgotten him. His face is obscured by the hood of his cloak, his features hidden, but the weariness in his posture speaks volumes. He has been traveling for days, alone, carrying only what he can manage on his back, a few scraps of food, a water skin, and the last remaining memories of a life once full of warmth and purpose. The rest is gone, swallowed by the shadow of war, of plague, of the endless suffering that has ravaged this land. His thoughts drift to the village he left behind, to the faces of his family, now lost to time, to the relentless march of history. There was a time when this land was full of life, when the laughter of children filled the streets, when there was enough to eat, enough to drink, enough to hold on to. But now, the land is a graveyard, and he is one of the last to walk its desolate path. As he moves deeper into the fog, he hears a distant sound, a soft rustling, a faint whisper on the wind. It is a sound that chills him, one he has heard before, in the stillness of the night, in the silence of the forest. He pauses, his breath shallow, listening for something that he knows is not there. The whisper is gone, but the sense of being watched lingers, heavy in the air, like the weight of something ancient, something that has always been here, just beyond the edge of sight. The man continues, his steps quickening, but the fog presses in, thickening around him until he can barely see the path before him. The trees close in, and for a moment, he wonders if the forest will swallow him whole, like it has so many before him. The silence is all-encompassing, and yet in that silence, there is a deep, unsettling presence, a presence that has watched the land change, watched civilizations rise and fall, and now watches him. As he pushes forward, the mist swirls around his feet, hiding the road beneath him, and the shadows stretch long in every direction. The fog has become more than a natural occurrence. It has become a veil, a barrier between the living and the forgotten. He walks on, unaware of how far he has traveled, unaware of the distance between the world he left and the one he has yet to find. But in the distance, he thinks he sees a figure, a shape moving through the fog. And for the first time in a long while, he wonders if he is not as alone as he thought. The landscape before him is a wasteland, barren and broken, with only the occasional twisted tree standing like a silent witness to a world that has forgotten how to bloom. The sky is a cold gray, heavy with the promise of rain, but it does not fall. The man, hunched under the weight of his worn pack, trudges forward with slow, deliberate steps, his body worn from the journey, his soul weighed down by the memories that cling to him like the dust on his cloak. He does not look back. There is nothing to return to. His mind drifts, as it always does, back to the village he once called home. He can still see the narrow streets, the thatched roofs, the laughter of children echoing in the distance. He remembers the smell of bread baking in the hearth, the warmth of a fire crackling in the evening, the sense of belonging that only comes when you are part of something larger than yourself. But that world is gone now. It was swept away by the plague, by the endless war that ravaged the land, by the slow decay of a world that no longer had room for the living. And so, here he is, walking alone through a world of ghosts, trying to find something, anything, to hold on to. The wind picks up, cutting through his cloak, biting at his skin. He pulls the fabric tighter around him, his breath visible in the air, as the road before him seems to stretch endlessly into the distance. There is no end in sight, no comfort, no safety, only the road and the unrelenting march of time that drags him forward, pulling him away from the past and into an uncertain future. He is not the only one, he knows. All around him, the remnants of other lives scatter the land, abandoned homes, forgotten graves, the traces of people who once lived and loved and died in the same way. They are all gone now, and he is the last to walk this path. The world has moved on without them, leaving only the ruins of what once was. As he walks, the landscape begins to change. The road is less traveled now, the earth beneath his feet soft with mud and overgrowth. The sounds of the world fade, the chirping of birds, the rustling of leaves, and there is only the sound of his own breath, steady but growing fainter, as if the world itself is tired of him. But he cannot stop. There is no place left for him to rest, no place that feels like home. And then, in the distance, he sees something, a flicker of movement on the horizon, a shape rising from the fog. His heart quickens, and for the first time in what feels like an eternity, he allows himself to hope. Perhaps it is a sign, perhaps a traveler like him, someone to share the burden of the journey. Or perhaps it is a mirage, another cruel trick of the world that has taken so much from him. But hope, like the road before him, is a long, uncertain thing. He will continue forward as he always has, for what else is there to do but walk? The end may never come, but neither does the road. And so, he moves on, his steps growing heavier with each passing mile, his soul clinging to the fragile thread of a past he cannot let go of, as the world around him waits in silence. The moon, barely visible through a veil of cloud, casts a pale, uncertain light over the land. A figure stands at the edge of a cliff, staring out into the abyss below. The wind howls through the night, carrying with it the scent of salt water and the promise of something unseen, something waiting. The man's cloak flutters behind him, the fabric torn and worn by the unforgiving passage of time. His hand rests on the hilt of his sword, though it has not tasted blood in years. It is a relic like the man himself, once sharp, once capable of delivering justice, now dull and abandoned to the decay of a world that has forgotten what it once stood for. Behind him, the remnants of a kingdom lie in ruins. The shattered walls of a castle, once mighty, now crumble under the weight of their own history. The great hall that once echoed with the sounds of feasts and laughter is now silent, a hollow shell of what it used to be. The fields that once flourished with crops now lie fallow, the earth barren, sucked dry by the years of war and plague. The world has changed. The world has moved on, leaving only the survivors, the ones who are left to pick through the bones of what remains. The man's thoughts drift, as they always do, to the days when his sword was sharp, when he fought for something larger than himself. His heart beats heavier in his chest as he recalls the days of battle, the blood spilled, the comrades lost to the same ruthless enemy that now plagues the land in other, subtler ways. The war is over, but the wounds it left have not healed. They cannot. He is left with nothing but the ghosts of the past, the silent echoes of a war that claimed everything, his honor, his home, his purpose. He turns from the edge of the cliff, the wind whipping his face, the chill of it cutting through the layers of grime and wear. He has walked these lands for years, searching for something, for some purpose that might bring meaning to the life that has been stripped of meaning. The world feels smaller with each passing day, the distance between him and the rest of humanity growing ever wider. In the silence of the night, he hears only the whispers of the past, the voices of those who fought beside him, those who fell beside him. A single bird takes flight from the tree line below, its wings beating the air in a soft rhythm. A fleeting moment of life in a world that feels still, frozen in time. The man watches the bird until it vanishes into the night, and with it, a part of his hope. Is this what survival has become? A mere existence, a struggle to continue when everything worth living for is gone? He walks away from the cliff's edge, his footsteps soft against the earth, but in his heart the question remains unanswered. What is left for him now? What is left for any of them? And as the night deepens, the man fades into the darkness, the echo of his footsteps the only sign that he is still walking, still searching, still surviving, in a world that seems to have already forgotten him.